840, 1360, 97.5.
Early morning in Wisconsin, and the airwaves crackle with the sound of division.
He's fighting for us, you know, and he's telling it like it is. And
he tends to use his Twitter account way too much.
But he's trying very hard, and he is working very hard, and so are the people around him.
Do we want to live in a country?
Jerry Bader is the conservative radio host out of step with his listeners. He can't stand Trump.
The free world gets into petty arguments.
They all seem to love him,
Cavalier things about
at least if an hour co-hosting his show is anything to go by.
I'm interested to know what you feel about how you voted and whether you voted the right way, the wrong way.
I feel that I really had no choice. It was the lesser of two evils. I certainly was not going to give my vote to Hillary Clinton.
There's a lot of people in Britain who think that Donald Trump is a narcissist, a bully.
He's fighting for us, removing some of the regulation, and he's kicking ISIS's butt out there, and you bet, he's doing a great job.
You sound pretty angry about...
He has dealt with nothing but disrespect, and, you know, I understand that he's not perfect, but he's trying very hard.
If there was an election on November the 8th, 2017, you'd still vote for Trump?
In a second, in a heartbeat, and would be pushing for everyone else to do the same.
The Jerry Bader Show.
Jerry admits he's not winning the argument.
I share their anger. I share the absolute incompetence that's happened in Washington by Republicans. But it seems for the core Trump voter, and I don't know how far beyond that, that anger is enough, and the fight is enough, and you heard that in call after call after call.
But Wisconsin is a big place, and we set off to test the climate in this bellwether state a year on from the election. It soon becomes obvious it's still about as polarized as you can get.
Queen, babe. Get up. Queen, babe.
In the rural south, I stop off to meet Alan Trainen. A third-generation farmer, he had grave reservations about Trump a year ago, and he's nothing but contempt for the president now.
I think he's an ass. He's a jerk.
He and his wife, Angie, are in despair.
It's so deeply embarrassing, I think. I think that the status of the United States in the world has plummeted. Like, we're not that ally that you can trust.
Alan's hayrides are a favourite here, but there's a rule. Don't talk about politics. It's too toxic, too full of hate, and no fun anymore, he says. His visitors agree. Since Trump's election, politics have divided friends, even close relatives.
It's hard to talk to other people, family. I'm worried about Thanksgiving and how that's going to go, of talking politics of different sides. It's very divisive, very separate.
You don't have to go far to find the political extremes on show here. On the main street of a town called Marshfield, we found these evangelical Christians making their pro-life protests quietly but starkly. 15% of Wisconsin's Christians are evangelical, and 80% of them backed Trump, a significant vote for a president who hasn't always displayed the most Christian behavior.
And we just thank you that you said you're going to pour out your spirit upon all flesh. Your sons and daughters.
Later that evening, after prayers, they explained why they decided Trump was their man.
And they saw Donald Trump as kind of a John Wayne, a kind of a guy who really was an outsider, who was going to stand up and push back and try to get something done, where they're sick and tired of this two-party system that isn't getting anywhere. So I think a lot of people realize that maybe Donald Trump isn't the second coming of Jesus, but he's a guy that's going to stand up and fight for what they believe are their values, which is liberty first. Come and repent and allow the grace and the mercy of
Dave Dobenmeyer is a former football coach who now travels the Midwest rallying his born-again base.
Since the election of Trump, there is a spirit loose in America that I have never seen.
Absolutely.
You'll tolerate Donald Trump's unchristian behavior if he delivers what you want to deliver?
Well, first of all, we're all sinners saved by grace. I have a lot of unchristian behavior in my background as well. He's been the most Christian president in the policies that he's extended than any president in my lifetime.
If not in his own behavior.
If not in his own behavior, that's right.
But delivering for the Christian right may not be that easy for Trump, even if he wanted to.
Trump's election success and the march of the right has left many Democrats in despair. Here in Wisconsin and across America, a new movement of the left is mobilizing. Its aim, resistance to almost everything Trump does.
Myself and a lot of friends I talked to felt very helpless. They wanted to do something to make sure that people weren't hurt in our country.
In a Wisconsin coffee shop, the resistance is being led here by two women plotting an anti-Trump, anti-right insurgency.
He thinks it's an asset to be unpredictable, but to the rest of the nation, that's very unsettling, and we feel like there's nothing we can count on anymore.
Thousands will die. Save the sick.
The weapons of war are traditional protest, but also carefully targeted campaigns against congressmen and women backing policies they dislike.
Members of Congress have been inundated with phone calls. Their voicemail is full. They can't really do anything else except answer their phones, or they just stop answering their phones and they don't pay attention to their constituents.
But in vast areas of the place they call the Dairyland state, where cattle and cheese are an $80 billion industry, the political scrap between right and left is a world away from the rural reality.
Nothing is more important than dairy. This is our backbone. It's a very traditional, I mean, you know, do things change? Yes, there was a time when we had...
What people like Ken Heyman care about here is what Trump can do for them.
I'll deal with the talk if you can walk the walk. And what I mean by that is if I can deal with all the things that are said about him, about everything, if it comes out that it's the best for the people, if business is doing well and the country's doing well, then I can deal with the talk.
In these parts, they went overwhelmingly for Trump, the non-politician who's torn up the Washington rule book and says what he thinks.
So what you seem to be saying, Ken, if Trump delivers, you'll back him again?
Yes. Yes, if he delivers and we don't, you know, we can see where the best of the best is for the majority of the people, then that's what it takes.
For well over a century, they've been making cheese here, lots of it. It's a skill passed down through generations, a tradition that thrives. It's the state's pride, its history, its way of life. They know what they're doing, and in politics as in cheese, they know what they want.
I like that he's very authoritative. He does what he what he feels is right for the people and by the people. He's his own man, and I think that really ticks the rest of them guys off.
She's even beginning to persuade her previously anti-Trump colleagues.
He would like people to work. He doesn't want people to get their money off of society. That's why I think Wisconsin voted for Trump, because we're hardworking people.
It sounds to me like you're becoming a bit of a fan.
Could be. Yeah.
I think Jill is winning you over.
That'd be all right.
And that's the unmistakable message from the factories and the farms of Wisconsin's Dairyland. The workers here backed Trump a year ago and still back him now.
You're prepared to give Trump a chance, are you?
Yes, all of us are. I mean, because, we got to try something. It's not been working. The status quo has been for how many years? We got to do something.
What you realize coming to rural Wisconsin is that all the noise around Donald Trump, the fighting, the sackings, the tweeting, the unpresidential behavior, it doesn't mean anything. All they care about here is that he's not a career politician, he's trying to do things differently, and a year on, they're still prepared to give him a chance.
So Wisconsin, indeed America, remains bitterly divided over a president without precedent. Those who detest him still do. Those who back Trump are standing by him. For them, it's about business, the economy, and jobs. But their support comes with a warning. Trump has to deliver, or he'll be swept away on the very tide that carried him to the White House. Mark Austin, Sky News, in Wisconsin.